So we are currently recording, and I just want to say that for, legal reasons so that people know what's happening. If you need to mute your phone, please use the mute button. Right now, I'm going to go ahead and force mute everybody, but I will take you off of force mute a little bit later on so that you may ask questions. If in the meantime you have questions, please type that into the comment bar.
Presentation mode is now enabled.
Okay, excellent. The other thing I'd like to cover is if you could type your name and the name of anyone watching with you into the comment bar. That way we have a record of all those who have attended. What we're really focusing on this year is making sure that the topics we provide are well received by you guys. And the only way we know that is by getting an accurate count of who attends it. So kind of our thinking is the more people who attend, the better we're doing at providing the topics you need. And so if you give us all the names of those who attend, that's one way that we're able to monitor the success of what we're doing. We're also going to be looking at different ways to make sure that we're doing webinars that are not a waste of your time, provide value and the resources you need. In that vein, we will have questions at the end of the webinar so that people may have an opportunity to get clarification, to volunteer to host a webinar. We're still looking for people to fill in those 30-minute, we've now divided it up into 30-minute updates for the most part, and then 30-minute new content. So today we're doing that all from Tallahassee, but we'd like to have every district do 2 presentations a year. We have already had District 3 kicked it off with Aggie Armstrong talking about how to host a pollinator event. Then District 5 was Lou Dodson, and she talked about hosting a sea turtle program and all the ins and outs of that. And then we had Lee Hibbler from District 4. So we're still looking for people from District 1 and 2 to round out the year, and then for all the districts to see if there's somebody who has an opportunity to present again in the future. So if you're interested in sharing a wonderful program or inviting a guest from your district to provide resources that you use at your park, please reach out to us and let us know about that. National Public Lands Day, a quick update, kind of the old business portion of the webinar. We are incredibly excited that we have had almost a record year this year. We're one park shy of a record year. So we have 73 parks who have registered 86 events. That is phenomenal. It was great to see all these events coming. I know some of your events happened last weekend. Some of them happened during the week this week, but the bulk of them will be happening this Saturday. So on Friday, we will be sending out an email to park interpretive chairpersons and copying managers to try to capture the participation. We really want to tout what you guys have done, the money cost offset by this huge volunteer event. We want to capture the hours given by Florida residents and visitors to parks to make them a better place. It shows not only that people support parks as a place to go sit on the beach, but they support the concept of parks and the mission of parks, and this is how they can do that. And so by capturing this number and sharing it up and out, we are able to strengthen and bolster all the hard work you guys have put into it. The other thing I want to let you know is that a file location will be provided to share media and photographs. And in the vein of photographs, the great thing about National Public Lands Day is if you register all of your volunteers, that includes a photo release, and it makes using the photos from National Public Lands Day very easily. So it's just a reminder to please register all of your volunteers. And I'm going to put the PPDSs on the spot. If you have questions about doing group registration of volunteers, I'm certain they can help you, or you can reach out to us as well. So thank you again for all of your hard work in getting the events posted and tracking them. It was very neat to see a little bit of friendly competition happening amongst the districts as we posted the percentage of parks which had registered for the event. That's something we'll be looking at continuing, because we want to kind of make it an even keel across as we register events. So of course, the districts with more parks have an easier time registering more parks. So we look at the percentage of parks to really kind of get that motivation. The next thing we'll be focusing on for a focused programming event will be first day hikes. So if you want to start thinking about that in your back of your mind, there'll be more coming out about that soon. Another thing I want to mention is we will be featuring articles submitted from the field in Sparks. We call it the State of Interpretation. So it's a little play on words. Florida is a state, the state of interpretation. How are things around the state? So you know how we interpreters like to make puns and do alliteration and onomatopoeia and all those fun things. So this is just one example of how you as a park can present those items. And I want to let you know that they don't just end there. They continue to roll up, and we use those in presentations. We recently went around and talked to the new target parks, and a lot of the presentation material came from articles submitted to State of Interpretation. So I thank everybody for doing that, and I want to mention that if you were left out of the previous State of Interpretation, we have saved your article and will incorporate you into this one. So don't worry about that. My apologies for those couple that I did skip. If you are looking at submitting an article, please do so to marketingandprogramming@dep.state.fl.us soon. We just look for a paragraph and a picture. We love to have pictures because it really helps to engage your audience. And if you could just get that to us, we will put it in the right format and get you some credit. Also, last time we did an incentive where we had people vote for their favorite article. And both the random person who voted for the winning article and the author of the winning article, their park won a prize. So we may be doing something similar to that soon. So there is some incentive in submitting articles. I also would like to update you on how the park marketing and programming portal is going. It's great to see people are adopting it. We are noticing that about 160 unique users used it last month. That means at least one person from every park is visiting the portal, and we're getting about 600 hits. So that means that not only are people, those 150 people, using the site, but they're going to it multiple times for resources. So we're very excited to see that, and we want to encourage that. So please let us know what will make it useful to you. And now we're going to roll into kind of the update portion, the programming templates and portal updates. If you attended last year's district meetings, you will recognize a lot of this. If you've been keeping up with Sparks, you'll recognize a lot of it, but it hasn't been released yet. So I just want to start off with the updates of Junior Ranger and Operation Recreation. So we'll go through those, and then we'll move into the new pages, which are Movies and Parks, Prescribed Fire, which I know people are very interested in, and Marketing Templates. I also, sorry, I have a little orange alert dot. Okay, there we go. All right, I also want to remind people, if you joined us a little bit late and you have not had the opportunity to type your name into the message block yet, please type your name here if you have not yet. That way we have an accurate record of all those who attended. So please type also the name of anyone who may be watching with you if you're sharing a computer. So the Junior Ranger update is something that we're very excited to see. Sorry, I'm getting some messages outside. Having a little delay. There we go. So logged me out. I was previously logged into Pages, but you know how the internet is. There we go. All right. So the great thing about this is, if you remember going to the previous Junior Ranger page, it was great. All the resources were there, but they were there in a file format. And so you weren't really knowing what you were getting into prior to clicking on your folder location. So right here, we have all the activities still, the backpack information, if you're using the backpacks at your park. We have digital ads, flyers, the kits, kiosk, large logo and font folders, marketing folders, merchandising folders, programming folders, and reward folders. And each one of those has a description of what's in there, so you can kind of know what you're getting into before you get into it. We also have discovered a way to make certain hyperlinks open in a new window. So we're going back and opening those in a new window. We also have the frequently asked questions right here on the cover page. So if you remember, the FAQ used to be a separate PDF, so you could print it out and hang it up somewhere in a common area for staff, so that new staff would have an opportunity to read it. So we've taken that and we've replicated it here so that it's right on the page and you don't have to dig for it. So as you're training new staff or volunteers on how to use the Statewide Junior Ranger program, it's right here on the page for you. And then we also have a glossary of the most common terms, because what we noticed is people were getting a little bit confused between core and activities. They were getting a little bit confused as to what might be in the folder, the Junior Ranger kit, and all of those items, and at what different levels the different rewards were given out. And so we wanted to go ahead and provide a glossary of those terms so that it was nice and clear for you. Please let us know what improvements we can make. If you just click home and contact, it'll open up the marketing and programming email, which is monitored daily, and we will get you an answer right away. Also, it's very exciting to see parks are going through folders very quickly. And some great news is we have registered 3,000 junior rangers to this point. We're 3 years into the program, so great job, 3,000 registered junior rangers. But the program has grown so exponentially. I don't know when it will be, but I think it'll be much sooner than anyone expects, that we're going to reach 5,000. And we're very excited to reach that number because it gives the program some meat and some bones, which it already has, but it really highlights those things. It's kind of the salt in the soup. The soup's great. All the flavors are good. The salt just puts the finishing touch on it. And so we're very excited to see that information come out, and we'll be keeping you updated and rolling that out like we do with the Geo Tour. So it's neat to see all of those items coming. I encourage you to take a look at Junior Ranger and to reach out to us if you need more materials. It looks like we're going to be doing another order of folders, so if you're low on folders, definitely let me know. The next page I want to show you is the Operation Recreation update. So very similarly to Junior Ranger, we wanted to go ahead and take that long list of file folders and kind of condense it down. So you can come here, and if your park manager or somebody says, hey, let's check into a women's fishing clinic, you can come here and see what information is there about a women's fishing clinic. If you heard about the new Bike Your Park Day information, we have some information on Bike Your Park Day. So you can go there. If you're interested in Geo Tour, if you want to incorporate food trucks into events, which is a great way to increase attendance of events, provide food, to have food services at a park that can't support a year-round food concession vendor. If you're interested in fitness, it's all here, and you can look at the folder contents and the webinar and get a sort of description about it before you go. So it's the same information it was before. We're just trying to present it in a little bit cleaner of a manner. So again, let us know what we can do to improve that. We're looking for new programs to add to the program library. So please let us know how we can support you in bringing your programs up here. And there's some more information with this hyperlink right here about how to submit your own program to it. A great program we're interested in would be maybe fire building, survival skills, yard games, such as beanbag toss, ladder toss, croquet. Also, just the sky's the limit. So think about what programs you do at your park that are specifically related to recreation skills, and we'll see what we can add here. All right. The next thing I want to look at is movies in parks. So a lot of CSOs or concessions or just parks themselves show movies in parks, and there are a lot of rules when it comes to showing movies because they are an artistic creation, and just because you are showing it to raise money for a good cause doesn't mean that you do not have to purchase those rights to show that movie. There are free movies which you can show, but the titles are limited. So if we have two sources right here of movies that are in the public domain, that you can go here and see that they are available for free to watch. So we'll just click on one of those right here. So there's feature films, there's short format films, sci-fi horror, comedy, stock footage. A lot of them are not going to be super appropriate to the park environment. So we'll just click on feature films. There's some that will be, so it's a good way to start out. But a lot of them are going to not be necessarily the movies that you're looking for to draw people into the park. But it's a good place to start if you're trying to do something with that. And then, so I want to go back and say there are free options, but if their free options are not available, what does it mean to show a movie and what do I need to do? So when you buy a movie, I've heard from other people that, oh, once I buy the movie, I own it and I can show it to whoever I want. That's not the case. When you buy the movie from Target or Walmart or Walgreens or wherever, you are buying a private showing. That means guests in your home can watch that movie with you, but you cannot advertise the showing of that movie or show it in a setting which would not fall under friends and family. So this means you can watch privately, you cannot show it publicly. In order to show a movie publicly, you must have a public performance license from the copyright owner. So, and there's some more definition about what that means. And then we also have hyperlinks right here to get you more information if you're interested in that. There are a couple different ways to acquire a public performance license. Swank Motion Pictures is kind of the big dog of licensing. So we have links and contacts to go there first to see what movies they have to offer. Things that determine how much a movie costs is how many people you're showing it to, and also the title of the movie, the value they have on it. So if you want to show Frozen to 7,000 people, you're going to be paying a lot more money than if you want to show Chitty Chitty Bang Bang to 200 people, if that makes sense. If any of you young people even know what Chitty Chitty Bang Bang is. The other way you can do it is by contacting the copyright holder directly. That's a little bit more difficult. They have a clearinghouse for this because they don't want to deal with it, but it is possible if Swank doesn't have it, we can maybe reach out to them and see what they have. So there are a couple exceptions, and those are listed here. Movies within the public domain, and we have resources for that. We also face-to-face teaching exemption, and that's limited, so please make sure to be clear on that if you're using it for to teach people with. However, this is an important thing to note. Educational, nonprofit, or free of charge, even if you aren't charging people to attend the movie, you're still publicly showing it and limiting the copyright holder's ability to make money. That is the argument for it. So this is not necessarily the most fun topic, but we just wanted to, we've had this question asked enough. We wanted to provide one resource. Now, let's focus on the good news. There are movies, and these fees are generalizations. They are not accurate. You have to get a quote. And this is just a process for Swank. We have some how-to guides, the top movies, top family movies. They also have a recreation movie section. And then we also have the exhibition request form. And then we have some contact information right here that you can phone or call. And that's replicated on the form here, the exhibition request. Right here. And it just asks you what movie you want to see. Brittany Stiles is the person you're contacting. It's a form to fill out. You fill that out, and they'll come back with a quote for how much that will be. So that's the ins and outs of showing movies in parks. Please read through it, share it with people because this information is not specific to the Florida Park Service. We just went ahead and reached out to a bunch of different resources, which we have listed, and compiled it all in one place so that you could look at it. All right. The next thing I want to talk about is the prescribed fire page right here. Actually, let me open up the phone lines.
Presentation mode is now disabled.
And I just wanted to see if anybody had any questions or concerns about public viewing of movies. Okay. All right. So I know that's, that we're going to have to, there's going to be some reassessment of certain things, but in the end, if you have your concession sell popcorn or your CSO sell popcorn, you can really make up the cost of that viewing very quickly. So it's a really neat opportunity, and it's great to do it right. So moving on to
Presentation mode is now enabled.
prescribed fire, we have the new prescribed fire interpretive program, which you may have seen last year when we did the materials order, when we were determining what interpretive materials people would like at certain parks. We included kind of a pre-survey for this. Now we're going to be sending out a follow-up survey that says, okay, we kind of got an estimate of what you wanted so we could start getting some quotes, but now we really want to see what you want. So we have kind of an introductory paragraph that tells you the real purpose of this interpretive program is to speak to people who have little to no understanding of prescribed fire. So it's very focused on telling people that prescribed fire is used in parks. It is done by people who have been trained, and they do it at the right time, and they do it safely, and it benefits the visitors and wildlife and plants which call the park home. So that's really the message we were getting into. We stayed a little bit out of process about habitat types with the Shaped by Fire sign because we really wanted to speak to the person from Saskatchewan who has never heard of prescribed fire, or the new park visitor who just hates the smoke and that's all they understand about prescribed fire. We wanted them to know that it's done safely, it replicates a natural process, and it benefits people and animals and plants. So that's kind of where we went with this. And you can see, thanks to the wonders of Junie, we don't have a sign yet, but we know what it'll look like once it's installed. And if you have a bear panel at your park, you'll notice it's following the same model. And so we have the prescribed fire being processed, the process it goes through, and the different items with that. And then we have the logos, which are available for your use. We have the prescribed fire logo and the icon. We also have the infographic, which are available here, which kind of talks about where prescribed fire is used, how much we burned last year, the great benefits of it, how often it's used, and it just really communicates the volume of work done, because often people see the little fire at the park and they don't realize this is something that is replicated across the state hundreds of times a year by an amazing group of staff who do it safely and who know what they're doing. And this just is to reassure people that although for them it's an exciting event because it's the only thing they've seen, we take the same amount of care, safety with it every single time, and we do it and it really helps. So then the other thing we have are the 6 most common natural communities, and we want to talk about burn frequency there. So Mesic Flatwoods is one of the 6 most fire-dependent ecosystems that's represented in Florida state parks. We have the good fires message of prescribed fire is a safe way to apply a natural process, ensure ecosystem health, and reduce wildfire risk. And that Mesic Flatwoods burns every 1 to 4 years. So these items have not all been released yet, but we wanted to show you so you could begin to think about where they can be used in your park and how they can be used in your park. We also have kiosk flyers that we're distributing that can be produced in park. It uses photo points and it allows you to tell a very intimate message about that kiosk's location and the fire dependent natural community that it surrounds it. And you're able to say, this is where it started, and then this is the stages of prescribed fire. So in that, we have two different types of prescribed kiosk templates. One is for prescribed fire areas which are in maintenance mode, and one is for restoration areas so that you can really communicate that message. We also have the Dear Neighbor letter, which again highlights pictorially to allow people that to know that when fire is going on around them, we are showing people testing the weather, and you may recognize some people in these photos. We are also showing them that they apply a prescription. We have a nice, low, easy burning fire because that's what we want to communicate. We don't want to communicate, I mean, what's really cool is the big flames and you standing in front of it, but we want to communicate that this is calm and this is a process and that it's under control because we want people to feel safe, because when they feel safe, they're more likely to be supportive. And then we also show a fire being put out, and then we show some new growth coming back. And what I really like about this image is there's charred vegetation on top, and the new growth is pushing up through that. It has survived even that. And then it has kind of the information that you'll be able to modify and edit. It has the prescription details where we want you to put the location within the park, the acres to be managed, the partnering agencies. We have the benefits. We have how the individuals can help. They can plan for potential traffic detours. They can keep doors and windows closed to avoid smoke in the home. They can cover the swimming pool so you don't get that complaint about all the ash in the swimming pool. They can limit outdoor activity for those with health concerns or temporarily leave the area. And they can regularly remove yard debris and keep areas around their home and business clear from flammable material. So we aren't only saying, we're doing this and you have no role in it. We're saying, we're doing this and you're a partner in it. So hopefully those items, you'll begin to incorporate those into your burn plans. We've run them through Mike Melanchuk of BNCR and through Greg Kaufman at Park Small. They've been shopped among district representatives. And so this is it's really neat to see it come together after about a year and a half of planning. And so I've introduced a bunch of templates. And then here we also have the different components for the statewide prescribed fire interpretive materials. And in it, there are what the item is, when it was last updated, a description of it. So what is the purpose of it? What does it do? And then the audience of it. And then the location. Where should I put this in my park? And then you can open the folder, which has the file locations, and it has all the content you need. So in that, we'll go back and we're going to go first through the wedding flyers, then through the youth group flyers, and then we're going to go back to the prescribed fire kiosk and letter templates. So I'm going to go ahead and open up the marketing templates now. So the two marketing templates that we have ready to go are the wedding flyer and the youth group flyer. So for those of you who were involved in the first wedding flyer, which had a blue background, we focused a lot more on words and a lot less on imagery. But what we want to do now is we want to flip that, and we really want to increase the focus on the imagery of what my wedding could look like at the park. We want to give them a little bit of the setting, a little bit of that kind of descriptive, interpretive language that starts with kind of a stirring message of moss-draped live oaks, antique roses, and historic buildings inspire visions of old Florida. You know, kind of put their mind in that wedding setting. And then we want to talk about the amenities. Those are kind of the big items that they can picture themselves using. And then we want to drive them to the webpage or to contacting the park or to contacting your concession to get more information. This is really the purpose of these things are to drive action, not provide details and rules. rules. This is not where we say all wedding contracts must be signed 2 weeks before scheduled event. You may not have alcohol in this location. Amplified music is strictly prohibited. We want to give them those details later in a different setting. This is to drive them to have interest in the location at the park. So in order to help people with getting those details down, we have some videos on how to fill them out. And they're very short videos. So the first one is how to replace a image in Sharepoint. And so the whole video is 1 minute long, and there's not a voiceover to it. We're going to add one, but it's just a couple steps, and it runs you through and shows you the location on how, when you're using a publisher template, which everybody has access to publisher if you have a DEP computer, how you can replace the photo, how you can crop the photo, how you can move the photo, all within here. And so it just guides you through step by step. And even though we built this particular one around the Shape by Fire messaging, it is the same process for the wedding template and for the youth group template. So I encourage you to, and it's right here embedded in the presentation, so you can click on it, watch it a couple times, or show it to somebody who you're asking to assist you, and they can know how to update their flyers. So that is one resource. The other resource is how to make your template 508 compliant so that when you post it digitally, you're good to go. Again, the skills taught in this one will be very useful, and we're going to try something today. Sorry, my laptop went to sleep. So the images will be mirrored. Unfortunately, that's the way the camera is locked and set up right now. But I just want you to get the voiceover to see how great these instructions are that were developed by D2. Thank you to Abby and Julianne for doing that. And this is just after 6 minutes, you will know how to make your document 508 compliant, and it's applicable to other places as well.
Hi, today we're going to be working on making a template 508 compliant. So to do this, I'm going to be using Deadly Farm Historic State Park's wedding template as an example. And the first thing that we're going to want to do is create a PDF out of our publisher file. So the first thing that you'll do is go up to the top left, select File, select Export, and create a PDF. Ensure that this is the correct title for your PDF, and select Publish.
Okay. All right. So I just want to give you that, and I see we have some.
In the process of checking to see if it is.
We have some more information from Elaine McGrath on showing movies that they show at the park. So we are very excited to add that to SharePoint and to get you that information. And if you have an example of how you have alternately provided movies at parks, we are very excited to add that as well. So we also have a PDF, which is the listed steps on how to make things 508 compliant, your template. And so that if you don't want to watch the video, you can kind of print this out and have it next to you or open on another computer or monitor so that you can follow along if you make those items 508 compliant. We also want to say with pictures, to use only pictures you have permission to use, and make sure any pictures taken of people by staff or volunteers include a model release. And photos which are taken by others should include a release form. And we have hyperlinks to those documents. They're actually the same document. So you can, right here, from here, you can check to see if you have that or acquire it if you need it. The language or the copy should be targeted to specific amenities of interest to your audience, and choose inspirational words. We already covered that. Rules and additional information should be reserved for your activities page. So if you want to check to see if that is updated, you can click here and that will take you to the different activities pages and you can check your park specifically. So right now we have 2 flyers in there. One is targeted towards wedding flyers, and we're really looking at getting this in the hands of people who are engaged, wedding planners, bakers, caterers, party rental companies, and dress shops, because they can assist you in driving traffic to your park for weddings. Posting locations are anywhere engaged people and wedding event staff are present, and wedding websites. Also consider places where people go, maybe your local courthouse where marriage licenses are awarded. There is a place you can post it. So if you click on the folder contents, some things in here to help you out are the PDF example. So just to kind of give you a flavor and a feel for what that is. There is also, sorry, I'm getting lost in link land here. Okay, I'm going to have to go back. My apologies. Had too many open windows. All right. There we are. So in there is also the wedding flyer tracking. So we spoke about this with in D4 about if I'm using this, where have I used it? That way when it's like, oh, we haven't done the wedding flyer template in 6 months, you already have a list of people who you can reach out to. And so we have the name, the park, in case you manage multiple parks, category, what type of wedding provider is this, the company, contact with address, contact email, and contact phone number. And so this is already developed for you. You can save it specifically to your park. And that way, if you ever get a promotion, move on to your park, stop filling that role and somebody else fills it for you, you can just pass them your list of contacts. So we encourage you to use that and also to share it with us because it might help a neighboring park. And then the wedding flyer template is very similar to the prescribed flyer templates that you saw how to replace. So you come in here, you click on the image, you click on it, you say change picture, change picture. It says, where do you want to change your picture from? You have a file location, you open it up, and you insert the new picture. It's automatically sized. You can move the picture around if you want to in the crop feature, and you can switch it out with your previous photo. So it's really neat that it's a lot easier to use. We also have some gibberish in here. We have to ask you to change that gibberish to kind of that inspiring language, and then to save it, and if you're distributing it digitally, to make it 508 compliant. So hopefully that makes things a little bit simpler in completing that task. And then the other thing I want to show you is the youth group flyer. It's targeted towards youth group organizers and professionals. The flyer is intended for youth group users who host events in parks. And there's some examples there. And when you open here, much like the wedding flyer, there is an example of right here. You see we're starting with adventure starts here. We have photos of smiling, engaged children participating in traditional park events. And then we have language which will drive people to want to be a part of that. We also in here, again, have the tracking sheet and the template for you to use. So now the next item is we're going to go back to prescribed fire, and we're going to get a little bit more in depth with the prescribed fire templates so that you can begin to feel comfortable using those. And when you get the follow-up email that says, okay, what materials can we get to you, you're a little bit more familiar with them. So if you look here, we have 3 folders that have the word template in here. And I just want to show you that you can sort these columns alphabetically, so that if you're looking for something in particular, you can sort them by when they were last modified. You can sort them by audience, location, and that's true for any of these charts that we're developing in SharePoint. You can also use the search function here to search keywords. So I am going to look at sample image and instructions and templates for the maintenance flyer. When you open that up, you have the 6 locations that are kind of the most represented in Florida parks, which are for burning purposes: Dry Prairie, Flatwoods, Sandhill, Scrubby Flatwoods, Scrub, Mesic Flatwoods, and Wet Flatwoods. And we have an example of what it looks like filled out. Now, if you're looking at this very closely, you may say, hey, Rob, that is not a picture of a dry prairie. Well, we did that on purpose because we want people to replace the images with the appropriate place. So we have Dry Prairie, the natural community you see below, is maintained through prescribed fire. It is burned on average every 1 to 2 years to promote the health of plants and animals, which call it home. Notice how, and then the red is what you can change. You can say, notice how we've reduced the overall count of trees. Notice how the vista has opened up after a few months after the burn. Notice the wildflower bloom that was encouraged by that. Notice the return of pine trees. Notice the elimination of invasive plants. You know, you really have a lot of freedom in what you can direct people to know. And then we have the photo before the burn, immediately after the burn, and 3 months after the burn. And we just ask that you incorporate the month and the year into there so that people can kind of get a concept of what that means. All right. Then, so that is the maintenance flyer. So now if you have a habitat which is not under maintenance but in restoration, that is a slightly different story to tell. So we have made a 2 image template, very much the same, except it's saying it's being restored. And so you can show, if all you want to show is this is the image before restoration and this is the image during restoration, you can do that. If the story at your park is a little bit longer than that for restoration, you can use the multiple sheet. And right here, it is 2 pages. And when you post it, you just post 1 page on top of the other. And I have an image of what that looks like so that it becomes kind of a 4-image thing. And you can print these right at your own park. But again, otherwise, it's the same. And if you are looking for the instructions on how to use that, we have the how-to sheet right here. And it says shape by fire kiosk templates, type of kiosk templates. And you can see, I'm going to zoom in on that a little bit. We have the maintenance mode. We have the single sheet restoration mode. And then we have the multi-sheet restoration mode with a little bit of description of what those are. They are present for the 6 most frequently occurring fire-dependent natural communities: Dry Prairie, Mesic Flatwoods, Sandhill, Scrubby Flatwoods, Scrub, and Wet Flatwoods. Then we have the how to edit. So go ahead and choose the templates which best fit the natural communities and current conditions at your park. So determining on whether you're on restoration mode, maintenance mode in different places in your park or have different communities at your park, that'll help you choose it, and they're all on the Park Marketing and Programming portal. Open the template in Publisher. We have those how-to videos to help you with that. Replace the images. Once you have edited all your text, go ahead and change that color to black. Save your template on the network drive. Print in color or black and white, and then post your template in the appropriate location. Making sure to monitor it for fading if it's in direct sunlight. Making sure to monitor it just like you do any other item, that it hasn't been up too long. And then we have some general publisher tips. We have a link to the video that we showed you a sample of today, and then we also have a link to some publisher training in case you're unfamiliar with that program. The other item I want to go through, because it's a little bit different, and then we'll wrap up, is the neighbor letter. We have an example of the neighbor letter mocked up right here. You saw that already. And then we also have a PDF of that to help you see what that looks like a little bit more clearly. And then we have a Word document where we ask you to edit only the items which appear right of the line. And you can come in here and talk about the prescription details. The benefits are locked down. The month and day are locked down. The month and day can be changed. Your part name can be changed. And then also who to contact. And this just will help you alert people that there's going to be a burn happening sometime during this time. And hopefully it's one less item for you to have to think about, oh, we need to make it. Oh, we need to make sure it says the right thing. Does it say the right thing? Here, this has been blessed and approved, so you know that you're getting the right message right off the bat. All right. So at this time, I want to remind you to use the Marketing and Programming portal to get all your questions answered. But I also want to take everybody off of mute. It was very exciting to have everyone attend, and we were excited to see so many people attend this
Presentation mode is now disabled.
Webinar. And thank you. I know it was a little bit of just updates and different items, but are there any specific questions that anybody has that they'd like answered? Anything they'd like to see come in future webinars or anything like that?
Hey, Rob, this is Steve Cutshaw. Can you hear me?
I can hear you, Steve.
Hey, buddy. No, I just wanted to thank you. That was some good information. Man, I'm looking forward to seeing that prescribed fire, for example, and all of that. It's good. This is really good. I appreciate it.
Awesome. Thank you, Steve. It's very exciting to get to work with you and everyone in order to create it, and it's awesome to be the person who gets to present it. So thank you, and thank you to Junie and Heather and Ben and Abby and Leanne and all the other PPDSs and interpretive chairpersons, because it's really just a reflection of all the hard work everybody does out there.
That's it. That's it. Thank you, buddy.
Thank you, sir. All right, everyone. Be safe, have fun, and do some great programming. Look forward to the email coming out for the, give me a second, the National Public Lands Day follow-up, and please remember to include your coastal cleanup numbers for that. Have a great day.
Thanks, Rob.
Good day. Thank you. Oh, Megan, if you're still on, I hadn't forgotten the email about adding some resources. That's the next phase of the program, but it will go on that prescribed fire page, so we already have a home for it. So thank you so much, and I'll catch up with you that more later. And I saw your message, Jeff, about Kirsten. She should already be on the list, but I will double check.